Hello, everyone. Welcome to the summer edition, Coaches Week edition of the Running Club at UC Riverside podcast episode. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm your host, Daniel Yang, president of Running Club, with my co-host, Thomas Kawase, vice president of Running Club.
Yo.
Today, we have a very special guest from Thomas's alma mater, Coach Druten, West Torrance High School cross-country coach, Jason Druten. Has had a team on the podium for the last 4 CIF state championships, is arguably one of the top coaches here in California. He was named 2-time Coach of the Year, California CIF Southern Section, and 2017 state champions. Thank you for coming here and being with us.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me, man. Super excited. I'm so glad you guys are doing something like this. Running's my life, and I think it's a great passion for everyone to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, my first question is, like, I remember you said growing up you were like doing soccer, and like you did soccer in college too.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was wondering what attracted you to become a cross country coach?
I got forced into it. I actually, my first teaching job, I wanted to coach basketball, and I applied for the basketball position, and the guy was like, "Yeah, you can have the position, but you have to coach cross country in the fall." And I was like, "What's cross country?" I didn't even know. I was like, "What is cross country?" He was like, "You go out and you run." I was like, "Oh man." I said, "That sounds terrible." Because I was a forward in soccer and played basketball, and like running was always punishment for every sport I'd ever been a part of. And I was like, "Okay, so what do you do?" So I went out, and back then the girls ran 2 miles and the boys ran 3. So we practiced 2 or 3 miles a day. Then we went home. That's what we did. Some days we ran 1 mile warm up and stretched, and then we just went home. I had no clue, but I got in, and then what I saw the people that wanted to work at this sport. If you wanted to work at this sport and you wanted to be good, you could. It didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if you were 5'1", you were 6'1". It didn't matter. It was more like, how bad did you want it? And you could get there. And I was like, dang, this is nice. And then I started running. And I started feeling good after I ran, because at the beginning you felt terrible, right? But I got finally to that point where it was like you felt good when you finished a run, and I was like, This is what I want to do. The other sports are like fun, but this is rewarding. And I was like, here we go. And so I started going to clinics and learned everything I could possibly learn.
Dude, yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like running's like the most simple sport. Like 1 + 1 = 2. Like
nothing hard about it, man. The problem is we complicate everything. We sit there and we start looking, this is what, and for high school, this is what Great Oak's doing. This is what Newbury Park's doing. This is what Saugus girls are doing, Saugus boys. And everyone just starts looking at everybody else with the internet, when all you have to do is put on your shoes, baby, and go out and run.
Yeah.
Throw a different couple paces in there, and you're going to be good to go.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Coach, so my next question is, like, how long have you been a coach, and like how many times have you gone state?
I think we've been to state. I really don't know how many times. I think 11. I think I've been 11 times out of the 19 years at West. So that's what I've done at West. But I started in 91, and I taught at an inner city school, and we won a bunch of league championships only because I got 5 people on the starting line. And I'll be honest with that. That's the truth. But I've always, I don't know why, West High just always just kept feeding me talent. I just kept getting talented guys. I mean, Thomas is extremely talented, but he came in when we were really talented. Yeah. And so people look at the coaches and like, oh my God, this coach did this for training, this coach. You know what the truth is? I had good runners come through, dedicated kids, and I basically just tried to get out of their way and let them just be athletes and run. And so that's it. I've been doing this since 91, and I still don't have any clue what I'm doing for the most part. I just know what not to do. I've made every mistake you could possibly make in the book. And so what I've done is I think I've narrowed down how to make mistakes, and I've let the kids just be successful on their own.
And so how do you create these like workouts if you if you don't look at other schools, like how do you create these workouts?
I do. I look at other clinics. I just don't try to model other schools. So I'd go to a clinic and I'd come back. And this literally happened my first probably 10 years at West. I'd go to a clinic. I would watch, and I remember the first one I think was Royal High School. They were phenomenal. They had Nicole Blood back then. I mean, they were off the chart. Everybody wanted to be them. So I saw their workouts, and I did, and I put it in, and I kept what I liked and what worked for me. Then I went back, and I think it was Marietta Valley. You know, the guy was phenomenal out there, and I followed them. So I go to these clinics, I hear what these coaches say, and then I take the pieces and parts that I like and I try them. And sometimes they blow up. I mean, I've had varsity guys running 30 miles. I've had varsity guys running 70 miles a week. And so, I mean, every year is different. I mean, if you come into my program, if you're an alumni, you come back, you have no clue what we're doing because I switch it up all the time because I get bored.
Yeah, I remember like freshman year to senior year, we did like ladders and stuff. We did like the track warm-ups. Like we changed it up like every year.
Every year. You can't eat good cereal every day. Sometimes you got to have the bad cereal. And so I always give them a choice, man. You got the variety pack at West High School.
That's true. Yeah, like I remember our varsity team, we had like every person. Like we had Carson, the huge like runner type guy, and then we had like Ike, like really short, like
5'1".
just like
as
we
good
had
as you can
everybody.
get. Yeah. And then you had the soccer guy who was stocky and did all of this.
Yeah.
You got this guy we had a kid named Caleb Terrell, which was probably the freakiest athlete I've ever met in my life. And I messed him up. Like I never had like an elite person before, like elite.
Yeah.
Like
Just
he
straight
probably
off the
could have,
bat. Like
he probably could have been the best kid in the nation, but I 100% trained him wrong. I've never had anything like that. And if I could go back and do it again, I could handle it again, but I'll probably never get another one of those guys.
yeah, Caleb's special, man.
Yeah, he owns every school record for freshmen from the 100 to the 5,000.
Yeah,
He's the fastest 100-meter guy at our school ever freshman year and the fastest 5,000 meter. You tell me who's better.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Everything, even 800 mile. Like I remember watching his 800. Like
the guy broke 2 his first time running the 800 as a freshman. Think about that.
Yeah, that's so wild.
But anyway, that has nothing to do with coaching. That's just some genetic freak that came in and I messed it up. But at least I know that.
I remember like one thing that like I feel like is your like sleeper skill in coaching is like your cheering position. Cause like I remember you would be there at like spots where like there were no one and like the race sucked. Like, but like what do you think? Like what's some like advice or tips you have for like finding the best cheering positions?
Go where nobody is. Nowhere is and where people want to quit. Like if you go to like let's just say Mount Sac, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody knows Mount Sac, right? No one needs to be there in the first mile. You have everybody down there in Valley Loop. You still feel good. You're excited. I sit all the way out there at the back corner of those first Valley Loops because you can hear me, number one. Number two, I'm just yelling position and just trying to tell you, hey, here you go. Get ready. It's going to hurt. Then I sprint to the top of that hill at the top of Reservoir because everyone's at the bottom. So I go to the top. I'm not Reservoir. I'm
or the
sorry,
back of
Switchbacks. Switchbacks. I get to the top of Switchbacks because you're at the top. And if you've never run that course over there, once you get to the top, it's a long way going back before you start coming down. And people don't realize that. So I'm just up there trying to give you encouragement. And then I go to the backside of Reservoir as far as I can get down at the bottom.
I remember that.
There's nobody there. And the only reason I know that is because a long time ago, coaches used to get to run that race in between CIF prelims and finals at a coaches race where the coaches would run it and all you guys would yell and cuss at us, which was terrible. But I remember running that and the top of Switchbacks was so lonely and I just wished I wanted to quit. And the backside of Reservoir was so lonely, I just wanted to quit. So I said, that's where I need to be. So if you go to the state course where USC where I am, I'm nowhere near where anybody is. I'm so far out there, like probably at the 1.5 mile mark where there's nothing. And I'm just there to say like, you got 1.4 miles, 1.5 miles of the season, baby. You better suck it up and it's time to go.
Yeah.
So that's it.
No, those really help because like I remember Mount Sac, like coming out of poop out onto the last hill.
Oh,
it's just like,
yeah, you're gassed.
Yeah. But then like you saying something just like, yo, you could pass that guy or something just like really helps like that moment. Like,
yeah, I think what it does is it just takes your mind off of running for a second. You just refocus. You can refocus because you just come down. Let's say at Mount Sac, you just come down the Switchbacks, right? That hill, it's downhill. You're feeling good. And you come up to poop out and there's probably 1,000 people right there cheering you going up a hill. So now your adrenaline kicks in, but you're going uphill. You get to the top and you're like, oh, what the hell did I just do? And so now you're like, I'm done. I'm gassed. So I figure I'm there to like to say, okay, here we go. Let's pump this puppy up. Let's get it going. Let's recharge and let's get up that hill, baby.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. I'm actually from Walnut, actually. At Mount Sac.
Yeah.
Mount Sac is right there, like
For
2
sure,
minutes away
right.
from
Yeah, yeah.
So we run. Have you heard of Coach Polite, Jim Polite? Do you know who that
I don't.
from Walnut High School? No,
I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
It's just so far away from here that I
Oh. Yeah,
don't know
he's
him.
been coaching here about 50 years, but a couple years ago, 2 years ago, he just sadly passed away unexpectedly. But yeah, I just want to say that, like, yeah, it's crazy up here in Walnut where like it's all hilly, and so every time before like our league prelims, our league CIF Southern section was all at Mount Sac, so we always try to train up there during on the hills.
Yeah. I think we went out there sometime. I don't know if Thomas was part of this group, but I've taken groups out there like on a Tuesday when we're allowed to go then before they shut it down, and we go in and we practice out there. But listen, the hardest part for us over at West High is we go from 68-degree weather all summer long in the morning, cloudy, to go up to Mount Sac where it's 90. So we're looking at a 25-degree temperature change, and it might not be hot for other people, but for us, it's like we're melting out there because we're just cold the whole time because we're right on the ocean. And then we get hills though. People think because we're by the beach, we don't get hills. We run some really good hills. The problem is we have a hard time dealing with that heat.
Yeah, the terrible tans, man. Those are brutal.
Well, they pay off.
They do. They definitely do. Hills feel so easy now, like after high school. Because I remember in high school, I'd just get like crushed on all the hills, and now it's like, wow, hills are actually not that bad.
Yeah, but that's your attitude. I mean, if you just embrace hills and you make them part of like, this is what I want to do, then they're going to be great.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we put a lot of hills in, and we put a lot of emphasis on hill running, not because of the physical part, for the mental part. So when you sit there and you hit a hill, that you're like, come on, this is nothing compared to the ones we do.
Yeah, definitely.
This sport, let's be honest, guys, this sport is 90% mental. Like, there's a lot of talented people that can hang with you for the first mile. It's those last 2 miles that sit there. It's like, okay,
this is the race. Yeah.
Who can handle the pain? And that's what it really comes down to.
All right, I'm gonna tell like a story to Daniel and like for the viewers, and I just want to get like your take out of it because like we went to state a couple times, and then like I was on the varsity team for the senior year, and then like we thought we were gonna win if we beat Brea, and then like kicking in like I remember I had to beat the 5th guy. And I think I did.
You did beat him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I crossed the finish line, and then I saw you. I was like, oh my god, like, and then you just looked at me like, I don't think we did it. I was like, what?
Yeah, no.
Like, and then like I just remember walking back to the tent like, oh man, like it's over. Like, but like after it, I'm just like, I'm glad though. Like, there's nothing I regret from it. You know what I mean? Like, I put 100%. So like,
for sure.
Even if we like redid the year, like there's nothing we could like change or anything to make it
not me. I would have changed winning.
But
I changed winning. But like, I get it.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, it was kind of tough, but like I felt like it was like a really like strong lesson for me. Like what did you get out of it? Like what was your reaction to it?
Oh my God, did I learn a lesson that time. So Daniel, I don't know if you know this, but for 3 years in a row, we went into the state championship meet, the state championship meet as the number 1 seed. 3 years in a row, we were the number 1 seed. So you sit there and you think, okay, well, we're the number 1 seed. We're expected to win. So I don't know which year it was that what was that your junior year that Ike?
My junior year.
So like his junior year, we're the clear favorite. We put 3 guys in the top 8 at the state meet. 3 in the top 8, and we took 3rd. My number 4 guy looked at his phone wrong and clenched his neck. His neck cinched up, so he couldn't hardly run. My number 5 guy lost his shoe at the start and didn't finish the race. He tried to. He ran 2 miles, lost his shoe. My number 6 guy was a fill-in. His name is Roy Aberton, who's running at Chico State now, who's our school record holder in the mile. He was a sophomore. At the starting line, he told me, Coach, I don't think I can go, man. I just threw out my back putting on my thing. And he was serious. And I'm like, oh my God. So all this stuff went down, right? I mean, if we finish the race, my 4 and 5, there is 0 chance that we lose this thing. I mean, we have 14 points, I think, after 3 runners.
with Carson, Yusuf, and Caleb.
But this is what happened, right? So this is the point. But so number one, we learned to tie our shoes, even though they were triple knotted, you know. And then the next year, I think that was your senior year that we took second.
Yeah.
And everybody put us out there. It's between West Torrance and Brea Linda. West Torrance and Brea Linda, that's for sure it. So we queued off Brea Linda. That's the only time I'll ever make that mistake in my life. And Cathedral Catholic, who had been running people all year long, had people sick all year long or injured, and all 5 came back at the same time, and they all ran great and just destroyed us. So I think we won the state meet. We're looking at Brea Linda, and I walk up there, and now they have the phone. I'm looking at my phone. It says Cathedral Catholic. I was like, how did I do this? So we never queue off one team ever again. We made that mistake. But I'll tell you, from a coaching point of view, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is to walk back after you think that you've won a state championship or favored to win a state championship and go up to 7 boys who put their whole life in to this, their whole high school career, sacrifice after sacrifice, and they didn't get rewarded at the moment. Now, like Thomas said, he's been rewarded in the future. Like he can take these lessons now and build on them. But every time I had to walk back to that tent, I just sat there and I actually cried. I'd sit out there and cry because I didn't want them to see me cry. It was emotional. But I wasn't crying for myself because I knew I was getting another chance. I was crying because this was their last chance and they're devastated. But I knew when I walked back there, I had to pretend like it was no big deal, but I was like torn up inside. So when we finally won in 2017, I wasn't happy. It's the craziest thing. I sat there and I sat underneath the tree for about 5 minutes before, because I'm way out there, right? Like I don't see the finish ever because I don't need to see the finish. Mm-hmm. I remember walking back and I wasn't happy. I was just relieved. I was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to go back to a tent of boys that are devastated. And so it was more of a relief than a joy, but they had a great time. I mean, but so this year we took 10th in the state meet and I didn't have my number 1 runner. He got knocked out with COVID. And then what else happened? There was something else happened, my top 5. It was just, we just got decimated this year. But I've never been so happy to take 10th. It was one of our best performances because we didn't have anybody. Somehow we ended up getting 10th in the state. And I was like, oh man, that's so exciting. But
I mean, yeah, it's like looking back, it's just the title and like, it's more about like all the connections I made and like, just like, it was fun. Like,
it's all your friends.
Yeah.
You take your friends out of it. Go run by yourself. It sucks.
Yeah.
Compared to running tough with people every day. I mean, it's good. I call them come to Jesus runs. I go out by runs by myself just to figure out like what life's about.
Yeah.
And then, but when you go out the gate with 50 boys, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than running with a herd of people. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. There's nothing.
I can't believe I did that. Like 6:30 a.m. every day, like every morning, just like meet up with everyone and then go for a run, like every day of the summer. Like, but
it teaches you that you can get up at 6:30 and do something if you really want to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Very tough. It's not easy.
Coach, so like we're talking about a lot about like connection with connection with athletes and like all this like family networking, right? And so how do you create that connection with your athletes?
I don't know. It just comes natural to me. I really do. I don't think you can. I don't think you can teach it. Culture is everything. If you want to be honest, if you want to talk about a high school sports, what's more important? It's your culture. It's providing an environment that's better than something else, so kids want to come. If you provide a positive environment where kids are having fun, enjoying it, and I think Thomas will tell you, 99.9% of the time we're having fun out there. We're joking around. I mean, there's times where we all get mad and we hate each other and we don't want to talk to each other and people storm off mad, but that's just part of a family. If you care, you're going to get mad, right?
Yeah.
But I just think it's just my personality. I kind of let kids just be kids. I listen to them. If they say something, I've never claimed to know everything. I've never been the one that sits and says, oh, this is the way we're doing it. This is my way or you get out of here.
Yeah.
So I just kind of let them be kids, kind of figure it out on their own. I'm probably the most hands-off coach, like warming up. I don't even really know what they do half the time. At the freshman year, we were really strong on them. But then if Thomas wants to warm up one way and Daniel, you want to warm up a different way, don't I want to let you warm up the way that you feels best? I try to guide them, But so, we have fun. We do a lot of fun events that are kind of just like goofy. Like our Big Bear camp we call it a running camp, but it's really not a running camp. We run in the morning. Then after that, we just play and we just have the best time.
Yeah. Go on paddle boards, kayaks, and like just hit the pool.
It's really just a summer camp, but we call it a running camp just because we have to, I think. I don't know why we call it a running camp, but
because we do that lake run at the end.
Yeah, that's super fun. That's super fun.
Yeah.
But what I think's really taken us from just an average team to an above average team is the fact that when freshman kids come into our program, they learn right away from the older kids. They're expected to win, right? Yeah. They're expected to defend the dynasty, right? I mean, like if Thomas would have come in 10 years earlier, he would have thought that a 5:30 mile was a good time for a freshman. And now we know every freshman, you're expected to break 5 minutes in a 1600, like before your track season. And that's our culture. That's our mindset. This is where we want to be. Instead of 5:40 or 5:30, no, we're breaking 5. Oh, I can't run. No, you're breaking 5. And then a lot of people do it. And once you start seeing people do it, then you think you can do it.
Yeah. Like when all your friends are doing it, it's like, bro, like, come on, you could get there. Like,
I run with them every day. Why can't I do that? Yeah, so that's where they come down to. It's 100% the kids have created the culture out there. I just I'm a good recruiter. I get a bunch of kids come out, and then I play probability. I get 50 kids. I got to have 2 good ones, right?
Yeah.
You teach also when you're recruiting kids? Because we have a very similar culture. My old coach, he taught English.
Yeah, I teach. Right now, I just actually became the athletic director this week.
Congratulations.
At West High, thanks. And I'm currently teaching PE, but I was teaching, I think when Thomas was out, I think I was teaching science maybe. I don't know. I teach science, bio, and that. Terrible biology teacher. I'm a terrible biology teacher. But I got good stories.
We were curious, like how long do you? I mean, I'm gonna miss the fitness workouts. Like I feel like those aren't coming back. But how much time do you spend like creating workouts with like the other coaches or like for your team and stuff like that? Like, is it?
It takes a while, to be honest, because I like to map out the entire year. But it is just 100%. It changes as we go.
Oh yeah.
So I map it all out. I started off with a 7-day cycle, which means that we would go 6 days and then 1 day off. And I try to get the long runs on Saturday and do all of this. But what I've done now is I have like 5 key components that come in, right? I want a VO2 max type thing, which is like your tempo runs. No, I'm sorry. I have a tempo run day. I have a VO2 max, which is kind of like your intervals. And this year we're going to be doing critical velocity, that CV stuff at like 1,000 meters. I've been doing a little research on that. I'm going to try that.
Wait, what is that? Like just like track workouts?
It's a different pace. Like so we do a thing, Daniel, called short zones, but it's just a tempo run. I just don't
like hits. Sorry.
No. It's just a tempo run, right? But if I called it a tempo run, then everybody Googles tempo run, and then then they start coming up with their own paces. So we call it short zone because you're in this zone for a short period of time, and that way they can't look it up. And so we do that for our tempo run. Then we do a hills, which is a strength component. Then we do this VO2 max, which is intervals, which could be 800s or mile repeats, a lot faster. But my new thing is, and I think I just started when Tom was there, we do speed. When I say speed, we're spiking up or putting on our flats, and all we're doing 6 to 8 50-meter sprints all out with 5 minutes recovery. That's one of our days. We do 6 or 7 50-meter sprints all out, timed with a 5-minute recovery. It's our longest day. You're only running a couple hundred meters, but I really think it's changed a lot. Then we do a long run. And so by the time you do all this, I went from a 7-day cycle to a 9-day cycle, and now I'm doing an 11-day cycle. So we only do each of these every 11 days.
Okay.
So you get a long run every 11 days, a speed workout every 11 days, a tempo run once every 11 days or 10 days, whatever. But it's evolved because you have to give them some recovery.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But we take those, we put it all in a calendar, and then with the races and all of this. And then as we go, I look at the kids, and if they're just like spent because of something, we just, okay, regular run here. We're just we'll just switch it up.
I see.
You have
just
a
adjust as you
clipboard
go.
with all that stuff? Sorry.
No.
Okay, my coach used to have a clipboard, and people would like the kids would just like take the clipboard, like, oh my god.
No, I actually I have a Google Doc, and I just share it with everybody, and I'm the only one that can edit it. And then I like keep track. I put their times and stuff in, like my top 5 guys, so the following year I can see like, well, what did Thomas do last year? That way, if he comes back his senior year, I have his times, right? So this is what he did last year, man. You got to be better than last year. But I do that. I send it to them. But like I said, I change it whenever. So they just look at it before they come out, because I might change it 5th period. Like, nah, that's what we're going to do today. So now they have their phones. They come out and say, dang.
Yeah.
I don't ever throw – like if we have a workout, they know they have a workout the next day. They have to eat right at lunch because it's a little bit different. So
I see.
That's how we plan on that.
All right. So we're going to move on to the last segment of the show. It's called the final kick, 10 speed round questions.
Perfect. Let's go. I'm good at this stuff. I'm ready.
All right. So what's your favorite running event?
800.
What shoe do you run in?
Nike Pegasus.
Hot or cold?
Cold, always, for running.
On my rest days, I like to
watch Kansas City Chiefs football. By the way, they won the Super Bowl.
Nice. Dude, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Which coach do you want to give a shout out to?
Coach Ken Miyazaki. That guy's been around forever, just knocking it out.
What book do you recommend?
Running with the Buffaloes. Your Cry for sure. It's phenomenal.
Mile or 5K?
The mile, for sure. Not even close. The 5K is boring.
Have you ever ran a marathon?
Yes. 3:17.
Nice. 3:17. What's your favorite breakfast? This is the last question. What's your favorite breakfast?
Probably pancakes are my favorite, but I eat Raisin Bran almost every day. Pancakes.
Nice. Yeah, pancakes are awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Usually we end up like leaving with our viewers like with a quote, and however, like, Coach, do you have like any last piece of advice? Have you give some inspiration for our viewers?
I'll give you one thing, is that there is not one workout out there that will make you better. What makes you better is consistency. You show up every day and run. Yeah, for sure. I always tell everybody, running's like the Bazooka chewing gum. That Bazooka, you put it in your mouth the first day, man, you're chewing that thing. It's so hard. You're like, God. But if you just keep doing it, it gets easier. Keep chewing. It gets easier. It's easier. It loses the flavor, because the longer you run, the flavor is going to go away at some point. It's not as exciting anymore. But you get to blow that bubble. The longer you chew it, it gets big. But then you're going to run too much. It's going to blow up, and it's going to blow up in your face, and you're going to have to pull it off of your face because you think you got good now. Running does not discriminate. Running will just punch you in the face no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Don't think you're ever going to figure it out, and just enjoy it. I always tell these guys, a day without running is like a day without sunshine. Coach Druten put a lot of light in their life.
I love that analogy. I really do.
That was an awesome way to finish, man.
That's it, guys.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for our viewers out there who are watching. Hopefully everyone have a wonderful day. To get more content, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Follow Warriors West Torrance.
Yeah, you can follow Druten on Instagram too.
Coach Druten on Instagram.
And Coach Druten on Instagram. I watching your content, Coach. It's really cool. About the Chick-fil-A I saw.
The Chick-fil-A. Overrated. Overrated.
Nah.
Just overrated. You guys are fast food snobs if you like Chick-fil-A.
No, Chick-fil-A is good. Chick-fil-A is good.
Average.
All right. Thank you for coming, Coach.
You got it, guys. Thanks so much. I had a blast. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.